Hey guys, I'm gonna tell you how I paid off my mortgage in about 5 years, okay? So I'll start off by saying it wasn't like the house wasn't worth millions of dollars, and this isn't the smartest thing to do. It might be depending on the market, depending what the interest rates are at, and depending how much the property costs, but looking back, for me, it wasn't the smartest thing to do, but I'll tell you why I done it. The first thing is one of my main goals is to be financially free, and I figured, well, what's the biggest living expense? House, rent or mortgage. So I thought to myself, while I'm young, if I get a house and pay it off, that's finished, and all I'll have is food, right? I just got to pay for food and basic things. Like obviously, I don't have kids. Obviously, if you have kids and then you get a partner, that's more expenses. But I'm just talking about myself. I thought where I live, that's the biggest expense. If I get a cheap house and pay it off, that expense is gone, and I could just literally, if I wanted to, I could save up a few $1,000s for food for a whole year or for a couple years, not work, just do what I want. I could travel the world, save up a bit of money, rent the house out, travel. So I had a bunch of ideas, and that's what I done. So the house that I got was $300,000 at the time, which isn't that expensive in Australia, anyways. I don't know about other countries. Now it's doubled, but yeah, it was $300,000. I put 20% down, so 60K, and the loan was 240,000, and I paid that off probably less than 5 years, probably I don't know 4.5 years or 4.8 years. And really, all I done, man, was I was living at home at the time, so that's one benefit, and I wasn't paying rent to my parents. Okay, I did have to get my own food. I had to, put petrol in my car and everything else, but I didn't have to pay rent. Now I could have moved out and still done it. It just would have taken a bit longer to pay off the house. So that's why I decided to stay living with my parents and pay this off ASAP. So basically, I would work. I had a main permanent job, and I would do things on the side like security or something else. And for my main job, I just saved up everything. So if I made 60K after tax a year, I literally saved the whole thing. And I'll do security on the side, which would, I don't know, I might make $300-400 from it, and I'll just live off that. And sometimes even less than that, to be honest. Some weeks I barely spent any money at all. And that's basically how I got really serious. Like that's all it is. I don't know for you guys. There's nothing really magical. I just got really serious. I barely spent any money. I was living at home. Didn't buy clothes. Didn't really go, like I went out here and there, but didn't really go out. I did actually go on a few overseas travels, just because I really wanted to, but not much. Otherwise, the bulk of say 95% was me just saving up everything. Okay, being frugal. I don't waste my money on shit. I've never done that anyways, and just putting it all in the mortgage, and it paid off. Now looking back, this actually wasn't the smartest thing to do. So maybe you don't want to do this. Yeah, now I've got a paid off house, whatever. But had I, it actually looking, because where I bought at the time, it basically doubled. So had I 240,000, that's about, like for about 20%, I probably could have got 4 deposits, maybe 5 deposits. 10%, a bit more. So let's say that's 4, 5, 6 deposits. Man, I would have made a lot of money if I put all of that in real estate at the time. Then all of them would have doubled. Like I'd be sitting on well over $1 million in equity, plus the rents went up a lot. Like I don't even live in the house now. So I don't even live in it. I'm renting somewhere else. So that's what I mean. You don't have to pay it off. If it's smarter to, instead of paying it off, plus at the time, the interest rate at the time was what? I can't remember, but it was like 2% or something, like, low interest rates. Now it's like 8, now it's 6, 7%. Like, what's going on with the interest rates right now, they keep going up. So maybe now, if you already had a mortgage and it doesn't cost, it's not a huge mortgage, yeah, it might be smart to pump it all into the mortgage now, because realistically, like if you put your money in ETFs, okay, mutual funds, the average return is 8% anyways. And that's not guaranteed. Some years you get nothing, it's negative. Other years you might get 20. They just go averages out at 8%. But if you can get guaranteed 8% by paying off your loan, because that's what the interest rates are at, obviously it makes sense to put it in your loan. So it depends where we're at in the economy. At my time, when interest rates were 2%, I can't remember what they were, but it was nothing. Like, it didn't really make sense to pay it off because I could have put that money in really any asset and beat the 2% that I was saving. But that wasn't my goal. My whole thing was like, oh, I'll pay it off and I'm done. And look, it's good that I've done it. I proved to myself that I was able to do it. Like, I had the grit to just really do it. Like, when I paid it off, I was literally 25 years old with a house paid off. And like, some people are literally 50 still paying off their mortgage or still even renting. So me, I was happy like that I done it by 25. At least I got it now. Even though it wasn't the smartest thing to do, at least it's there. If times get rough, whatever. Look, my whole thing around it was if I have a house paid off, and I don't know, I just hate working, especially at the time. I'm more used to it now that I'm older. But, when I was like 18, 19, just really hated working, man. I'm used to it now. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing that I got used to it, but yeah, you get used to what you do, whether good or bad. And I hated working. I thought, if I just get this house, if I just pay this fucking house off, fuck everyone, I can quit. And you don't need much food you don't need much money to eat food, to buy food, okay? Rent's like the biggest thing, because if you got to pay 400-500 a week for rent, you kind of have to work, But if you don't have that, you just need food, you can get by. Like, I got family here, man. I can get food off my parents, whatever. I can get by, The other idea was I can just rent it out, pay it off, rent it out. Just backpack, go live in Thailand or somewhere, like just go South America. I had all these ideas. And I'll still do that one day, and at least it gives me these options now. So that's my whole story around it. I wanted like a safe haven sort of thing where in the back of my mind, like I'm still working now, whatever, but in the back of my mind, it's like I know I have this. If I want to quit, I can quit and I'll be alright. It's like a safety net, you get me? It's like a safety net. The other thing is this isn't the topic of this video, but I would recommend saving up emergency expenses for about 6 months, and they'll get you out of a lot of trouble, okay? I'm going to make a video about that, so thanks guys, I'll see you in the next video.